All right.
Yeah.
You were talking about finances and how money is energy. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, I think that money is representative of our life force. Our life force is whatever energy and time we have used to do a certain job that we get paid for. So in essence, that money represents our work, our knowledge, whatever it is, our time to do that particular job. Monetary energy is special because I can make an impact in probably the most efficient manner and the quickest manner possible. If I were to, look at those big, beautiful trees over there and say, all right, this is on my property, I need to chop that thing down. Well, I could do it myself and take maybe a couple weeks to chop it up into pieces, clear it, all that stuff, rent a truck, do all those things. That could take, up to a week of my time and energy. Or I can use my monetary energy to pay someone else to do it. And while they're doing that, I can apply my physical energy and attention to do other things, maybe even to make money while that job is being accomplished.
Yeah, and I think a thing I'd throw on there is that when you're being efficient with your time, because you're thinking, oh, what am I good at? What can I use my time on? How do I want to use my energy? You're also letting somebody specialize. There's somebody good at cutting trees. They're going to do it a tenth the time.
Right, that's not my strength.
So they're going to take less time and less energy to do it. So they get to be more efficient. And this idea of it's really paying it forward. You're letting people that have expertise get the work that they want, right? The guy cutting trees wants to cut trees.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also the interesting thing about that monetary energy is that I now am applying a certain value to it as well. To me, it may be worth it for me to, pay money to get a tree removed from my house for someone else to be like, you know what? I like that tree. I want that tree there. I don't want that tree removed. So everyone's always assigning certain values to things, whether it's your time, your energy, your work, a certain thing that you want to buy or do or purchase, right? So that is subjective, right? It is subjective. And it's also going to be in relation to how much monetary energy you have saved over the years. I can't do a lot of things if I only have, $3,000 in my bank. I can do a whole lot of things if I have $3 billion in my bank, Now you can get silly with it and start doing things that don't even matter, or you can use that for good to, open businesses and give people jobs or do a bunch of things. The other thing that's interesting about monetary energy, in my opinion, is, it's also being siphoned in a lot of ways, right? Obviously, we all know about taxes, we know about inflation. So even if, let's say, you have a certain amount of money saved, over time, if it's not being used appropriately, or if it's just sitting in cash, a lot of times, you're losing money in the long run. If you take a certain inflation rate, which I think is always, I don't think we're getting the real inflation rate. So I think if, let's say they're saying it's 3%, maybe it's closer to 9 or 10%. Well, that means that you need to be making at least 9 or 10% just to preserve your energy, just to preserve your life force. So, I think it's super important for us to know that, well, it's not even just good enough to earn money. You have to know how to preserve it and, even more importantly, get it to grow. Because what a gift it would be if I can pass it on to others, like my kids. And then they can go and do something with it. And the hope is that you teach them well enough that they're not going to be silly with that monetary energy that you've accrued over time.
If you teach them values, they won't be.
Right. So, there's the ability for you to affect not only your life, but your kids' lives and the lives of potentially, thousands or millions of people, depending on what jobs and businesses you create.
Yes. And I think that's one of the keys. A lot of people have this idea that money is bad or things. I think money is just an amplifier. So tell me about this. But I also think when you have money, you get to choose what you do with your time. Yes. Right? And so if you don't have a lot of money, you're working because you're having to do that, whatever job, got to pay the bills, got to take care of the family. But when you have money, those things are already taken care of, and you can find what your passions are.
Right.
You know, what you want to create. Like for you, whether that's going and teaching at your schools.
Yes.
Or going out and doing seminars, or, you know, educating and mentoring people. And that has a huge ripple effect. But when you're just working, you're a cog. You're just part of the machine.
Yes.
You're working, and you don't get to have a big impact.
Absolutely.
So maybe you can talk to me about that, like times where you're able to make more of an impact or less of an impact. Is it when you have more or less time?
Right.
Time.
Well, absolutely. You know, when people say time is the most valuable thing that we have, they're absolutely correct. You take your certain life, and let's say you're in a great situation, even if you are a billionaire right now. But I would tell you, hey man, I'm very sorry to tell you, you have 5 days to live.
Yeah.
There's nothing you could do with your money to buy yourself that time. Fortunately for you, for whatever time that assuming you were self-made, the time that you put in prior to those last 5 days that you have in your life, you've built up this monetary energy that maybe you can't use, but you could pass that down to others, which is interesting. But now that 5 days of time becomes this great limiter, this great limiting factor. You know, if you've accrued a certain amount of money and, you know, that you don't have this limitation that you know of time, you can go and say, you know, I'm passionate about charity work. I'm passionate about, you know, giving back to certain communities, you know, whether it's kids. I want to teach kids martial arts, or I want to open up a gym where other people can learn, or, you know, can teach other kids martial arts. Like there's things like that where you can, you know, now focus your time and energy in other ways. Money allows you to do that. But as far as, oh, I lost track. As far as like time, I think that, you know,
if you only have 5 days left
Yeah.
to live, obviously, you know, the money's not the goal. The goal was the time itself.
Right.
And now you really get to see that when a billionaire only has 5 days less to live. It wasn't the money that they were chasing when they had these moments. They actually say, you know, I was listening to a book, Psychology of Money, just recently, and there was this quote in there when one guy was talking to another really wealthy person, you know, and he said, you know, this other guy was talking about all the things that he has, and like, you could be doing more, and he goes, well, there's one thing I have that you don't have. And the guy goes, what? He goes, enough, right? And the idea that the goal is to get enough money that you have all the free time you want to pursue your passions and to be the best version of yourself.
Right.
You know, because it is an amplifier of it. But if you get addicted to the money rather than what the result of the money brings,
right,
that's where people come in and think money is bad. But I think money isn't inherently good or bad. It's just something that lets you be more of the version of yourself you are.
Yeah, sorry. And to get back to my point, absolutely. To get back to my point about time, time is the thing that we're buying.
Yes.
Time is the thing that we actually want.
You're buying units of time with money.
Yeah, we're buying units of time with money. It's like, okay, I don't have to go, you know what? I've accrued enough money where I'm good and my kids will be good. Guess what? I can focus on my family. I can go and travel and do the things that I want to do because I don't have to. That's the beauty of it. You know, the key is, you know, finding where to best apply that energy and that knowledge that you've accrued. And if you don't have it, that means that you need to invest your time into learning and getting a certain amount of skills, building up a business, for example, to then have that work for itself. And then again, get to a point where it's making enough money where now you can apply your time somewhere else, wherever you see fit. So we're always applying, you know, our worth to financial worth, but really it's how much time do you have? That really is the great indicator of wealth. It's your time. If you're working like a dog every single day and you don't know your family very well, you haven't been taking care of your health, you haven't been taking care of these things, you haven't been enjoying yourself, then, you know, I don't know, maybe you're doing it wrong. Maybe you're doing it right. Maybe that's just what you want to do. But I would think that we would like the option of having to do a certain thing or wanting to do a certain thing.
Have to versus get to.
Yeah,
I love that.
Or get to, yeah.
And so that's what I'm excited to talk to you about. In the actual podcast, we're going to talk about money, time, investing, and really like some of the pitfalls a lot of people jump into, but some things that you've learned over the years, how to be more cognizant of finding those opportunities to get back your time.
Cool.